Tonight's show, we're talking about Hauntings Decoded, Ghosts versus Spirits. And I'm answering all your questions with live readings coming up right now.
That looks like a Devin or David.
David is his name. It's been so spot on.
And I don't know if you put it in the side of your end table or not. You like to summon your end table. It's too.
My God, we're crazy.
Yeah, I don't know if she's showing me flowers. Like, relay them or redo them. These purple flowers.
Oh my God, Scott, the flowers are right there. My orchids are purple. They completely are dead.
Yeah.
Did you even know? You nailed everything, every single thing. Listen, everyone, this guy.
There needs to be a connection with like a Native American ancestry. And they're showing me a turquoise stone. Yes.
I just went to a Native American dance class and I wore this stone.
Tell me something that he told you that came true.
Everything he's predicted has come true.
I just don't see it.
Who doesn't have cancer?
It's very possible.
Tamara's psychic, who first questioned Brooke's cancer.
Scott Cruz.
Oh, there you won! You won!
You better question yourself. We're here to bring enlightenment, not confusion.
You might encounter negative aspects of self, but that's a freeing experience.
Because then they start realizing that they can't think outside the box. And I say, if you can't think outside the box, then who's the stupid one here? We've all co-created this matrix. So if you don't like the matrix, that's you saying that you don't like your own reality, what you're creating for yourself. So we're all equal participants of the creation of this matrix.
I don't just come on here and talk repeat I'm living it.
In harmony with nature.
Happy Thursday Night Live, beautiful souls. Welcome to the Cruisyverse. How has your week been? Now we're officially in Scorpio season. It's funny, every time my live show is, there's always some sort of new something on a Thursday. So I picked an interesting day of good excitement. So we will get into what to expect for Scorpio season. And next week, I'll have my lovely good friend Devin Dewar on as we collab, next Thursday here on what to expect for November. So I guess we're still trying to arranging if we want to do like collective reads, all reads, but we'll still doing tag team readings as well again too. So that's going to be amazing. So tune in. I know many of you guys know Devin Dewar. So it's next week. So it'll be very, very fun to do that. And so it's been an interesting, couple weeks, right? And so, for me, I like to kind of be more candid about how my week has been. I feel like it's just kind of been very settling for me as far as creating that new direction, as we've been talking about the past couple months, and having your sights on that new direction, new paradigm, and just really feeling that essence come into play. So as we get into talk about Scorpio season and do the collective read for such, it's all about solidification and solidifying those things. So as my stuff has been coming to play in directions, I know starting in Scorpio season, moving into November, it's going to be solidified. So for a lot of you guys too, and we'll get into more like what that looks like in the collective read too. So it's been a very, very interesting time, but we have to grab on to something to ground us during these times because there is a lot of change happening. So that could be very chaotic for some and detrimental for others. And like I've said a couple months back, that this will be a time if you've been relying on something as a crutch, that crutch will be pulled beneath you to where you understand that you don't need those crutches anymore. That's kind of what's going on now. And so, a lot of people use politics as crutches, their relationships as crutches, their jobs as crutches, not crushes, but crutches. And so when that gets pulled beneath you, you're forced to look at things that you have unresolved for such a long time. And, I see a lot of clients that, have issues for like a year finding a job. Nothing's happening. And obviously the energies are always low energy, always anxiety energy. And so need to be nurturing and caring for the self, as we always say, very cliche in the self communities, but it's true. It's about self-empowerment. So with that said, I want to go into much to see who's chatty Kathy on in the room. Where are my overlays, by the way? So they're disappeared. Here they are. And let's put this back in order here. I'm a little disorganized with this. Welcome. Let's see who's chatty Kathy on in the room here. And I can't stand it when my iPad's open, the mouse goes to the iPad. I thought I had that turned off. Anyways, David Cruz, Jennifer Cruz, mom and dad is number one in the house. Good to see you. Wonderful Mod Nina is in the room. If you want to get your questions in, it's 15 for a card pull, 20 for one question, 30 for two questions, 40 for a live video with me. Make sure that's only through Venmo because I cannot respond to your payment on PayPal in order to send you the link to call in. So, and the PayPal Venmo links are in the description below, as well as wonderful Mom Nina can help you with that to get things going. And she's back and recovered and doing well. So we do have a little snippet from her, a little channel message from her as well, which would come before our live reading. So that's wonderful to have. We got the Cruisyverse vibe back again. So, Darby, maybe good to see you. Janelle Haugen, good to see you. Good evening to you as well. Gorgeous. Iggy, can't you see, is in the house. Iggy says cutting cords as a power move still doesn't work for some reason. Of course, because it's not a power move. If you have to cut a cord, you don't have power. When you have power, you just kind of move on and don't have to worry about a cord if you have power, right? So the cutting cord things, there's no power play really much in that, other than you're still kind of attaching to something that's distracting you. Ketra's Oracle Magic, good to see you. Sydney Aaron, my sister from another missus, good to see you as well. Brenda Zweck, Linda Jane, Allie Taylor, Mary Reeves, oh my god, the outfit. Well, I'm glad you like the top half, because I'm not wearing anything on the bottom half, so it's not quite the outfit, but maybe the shirt. So yeah, if you guys only see me, I just put on a shirt and kind of just wear some boxer shorts and some socks. That's all we got going on over here. And it sucks. I have so many nice pants I like to wear, but we don't see them online unless I do a stand turnaround. But anyways, so thanks for the compliment there. Noelle Way, good. My another sister from another miss. Good to see you as well. Starlight Reboot, good to see you. Welcome aboard. James Porterfield, what's going on? Yes, I know. You're all dealing with these energies in different ways. James Porterfield, master of breath work. Again, we could be using those simple techniques that we hear. It sounds so hokey. That's sometimes breath work. Again, it sounds hokey. What's that going to do? It's going to do a lot. It's going to kind of stop down the neurological congestions that you're having and patterns that are constantly going on. And you can slow things down to actually observe what the hell you're thinking or not thinking. So yes, it's very much in tune to doing these little cliche things and tuning in. So it's good to see you. Horses Trigger Hope, hello, good to see you. Lisa Cruz, my sister from the same Mista, is in the house. Okay. All right. And I'm just saying who's down here. Leonard Jamie said, and those of you who are watching, I cannot see, I can only see who's chatting in the room. So let's get to this collective read, shall we? Okay. Let's see, because we're in the beginning of Scorpio season. I did say last week about solidification, right? So we'll see kind of what we can add to that to prepare for Scorpio season and also moving forward for November. But I won't go too in depth with that, because when I have Devin Durer on next week, that would be October 30th. So we'll still be at the end of October. So we'll kind of get more to depth about November then, but we're going to have to breeze on with Scorpio season. Interesting. I'm not surprised that came out. Okay. All right. Still shuffling these cards. We need some where's the waiting music? I need the waiting music. Why is everybody waiting? Or why is nobody working? Oh, whatever. I was trying to think of that Prada chick. Okay. Interesting. This is a very the energy for Scorpio season this read is very interesting as I'm pulling these cards. Interesting. All right, this is very interesting. I like this. Great. All right, that's a lot of cards, Spirit, tonight. That's a lot of cards tonight. But let's pull some oracles. But I think they're telling a story here for y'all. Y'all. Yeah, it's funny. Everyone always comments on my shirts and stuff like that. They like my shirts or whatever, And I'm just like, I have the most boring underwear, black underwear. Black underwear, black socks, that's it. Very basic. My gym clothes, basic, it's all black. So I do have a spin of just being all black. And most of the times I'm in casual mode. It's like my jeans and I got my Docs, my Doc Martens. I wear my Docs almost every day. And I have a whole closet of shoes. And it's my Docs that I wear all the time. So... all right, let's get into this collective read. Let me tune in and see what Spirit's got going for you. Give me a couple seconds here. Okay. First card in this position is the Devil card. I said that's interesting that's coming up for Scorpio season because that's all things dense. not your mentality, but all things dense when it comes to physicality. And so now is really the time to focus on the logistics of your life, the logistics of what's going on in your life, the circumstantial things that are going on in your life, right? Whether you have them the way you want to or not, it's time to focus on that right now. And the physicality of all things physical too is how you're going about doing things. How have you been going about doing things? And is it the way that you really want to continue doing it? Is it providing burnout? Are you trying to go for that job and that resume in the same energy, the same stale energy you had before when people are requiring the newer version of you now? And so I see a lot of people still bringing the same old energy, or they're trying to get a new job, a new expression, but they have the same old resume, right? It's time to freshen these things up. It's time to, like I always say, we don't want a Febreze watered down fart, okay? Lingering around the room energetically. So it's not time to just kind of clean things up. It's not just glossing things over. It's redoing, restructuring the physicality of the things in your life, the circumstantial things that are in your life, right? And clearing them out and restructuring things too, because as I said last week about November, Scorpio season being a lot about solidification, it's also about crystallization and allowing things to really crystallize into your reality. But the only way we can do so if we change the parameters of what we're doing now and how we're engaging with things now. And so the Temperance card in the second position here, to me, a lot of times we think temperance, I also think patience too, but I think it's time now to not be so patient, not wait on things in a sense, or, have that kind of calm in a sense of, oh, it'll happen. It's not the time for that now. This is not the energy cycle where we sit back and allow. This is the energy cycle where we step forward and do and participate, right? And we have to tweak those gears, right? And tweak those wires that are going on in our subconscious, tweaking those wires that are going in our prefrontal cortex of how we're engaging with our current life too, and what we're currently present with and so forth, right? It's time to tweak those wires, baby. And, it could be as simple as if you want to relocate and change your home, maybe clean up the freaking room now, that room that needs to be dirty, or clean up and redo things, or simplify your home to get ready for moving. Right? And so we have to do something in the physical reality. I know we're all spiritual heads in the clouds all the time. We got to bring it down to physical reality too, to understand how we also alter the parameters of our physical world. Because all the parameters of your physical world are the details of why things are manifesting the way they're manifesting in your life, or not. So everyone wants to talk about love, but you're in an abusive, crappy, shitty relationship, and you're like, well, I want love and acceptance and all this great stuff, but then you're still in a relationship that's like bogging you down. So if you have that programmed in your external world, you got to fix that programming. Deprogram it, cut it out, or whatever you got to do to get it out of there, because it's kind of contaminating the system, and your system is your external physical world. What's going on in that system of yours? What are the parameters? What are the dynamics? What are those buttons? Whatever you want to define it to be, what is the structure of your physical world? And these are the things that we have to understand. Sometimes we have to really push forward and not so much wait back and just wait for things to happen either. We got to push forward. Too many people in the spiritual community, especially with the manifestation crap that I was talking about, sit back and say, where's it coming? The manifestation's on its way. Don't let me go on my soapbox again about that. It's been a while. But this fits in here about a lot of people are waiting because they said the affirmation, or they just think, well, it'll happen somehow. It's like there are times to do that and there are times not to do that. And as I said at the beginning, now's not that time. Okay. And the two of, Pentacles coming in this third positioning here, it's all about balance. That's very simplistic. We're leaving the Libra season, so Libra season should have taught you all how to put things in balance and play, and what you've been kind of taking in and taking out, and or at least making the decisions to balance that out more intellectually and emotionally. Now it's time to get the nitty-gritty of the physical. But this Two of Pentacles is reflected to more the non-physical and the physical collaborations that we have going on here. Okay, so this card for me is really talking about that aspect of putting into balance the non-physical with this physical. And as above, so below. It's time to be below right now, baby. Okay? Like foreplay. Sometimes you kiss, then you go below, a little below, later on, right? So you have to kind of work it out. So we were staying a lot in the upper layers for a while. Let's bring it down, because when we do, then we can use our inside intuition to also navigate when we clear out the physical too. And we have a wonderful dance and synergy of the two, as my motto is aligning the mind with the soul, right? And so that's the whole goal here, is to align the mind with the soul. So that is this Two of Pentacles in this position, saying we're bringing that balance in. Grounding and woo-woo. You want to be woo-woo as fuck, you be woo-woo as fuck, but then have a grounding too. I'm saying, well, I'm grounded as hell too. And this is something I've also been noticing about this collective energy current moving forward. I'm like, I miss kind of the woo-woo hauntings and all that stuff. I miss the stuff I used to engage with when I was in that stage. So I'm like, I've done the grounding, but I want to go back to woo-woo and I'll come back down when I need to be grounded again. So this is what we got to start thinking about too. You could be hyper logical and hyper intuitive too. I would say that makes the best combo. Okay, and it's interesting that the Six of Swords comes up after this too, because this is my movement card. So this is almost like a forecast saying that's when the physical movements come in, the physical manifestations come in. Now, usually that's a travel card for me, like going overseas, or a moving card. But in this case, this energetic case, it's all about energetic and intellectual movement, which will then create the physical movement in that sense. You'll know how to act and behave to get it done. And to understand what real attraction is. Real attraction is just mean that you're just like, you're trying to vibrate a certain thing. You also understand the totality of your being and what matches and what it requires. You're not trying to say, I want love, so I'm focusing on love and I'm going to attract. No, your attraction means you understand the parameters, your thresholds, the specifics of your being, your character, and how you like to express things or not, and what you want to participate in or engage with or not. Like, you know how you are on the totality, and you're evolving and such. When you're in that state of being, you easily psychically attract the like. It comes in, and others who are that in tune with themselves will smell you out too. So it's not so much attraction as it is being conscious of your intuition and what you're actually engaging with or not, and guiding yourself into an energy that you feel is resonant with you, or likewise someone else doing the same with you as well. So, it's almost like I always see this attraction thing like it's safe that you're in like going to a concert and you're kind of walking through this dark alley or path or field, but then you hear the music in the distance. You hear that music and you just follow that music. Like, let's go follow that music. Intuition's like that. We can feel like that energy. I'm going more toward a chill energy and go more toward a different vibe. Like, you'll start feeling that and following that instead of saying, where is it coming? Where's it? It's not manifesting enough, or I'm not attracting it. It's like, you're not being in tune is your issue. And in tune to yourself, expressing yourself, owning it, and finding others that have similar expressions. Boom, you can master attraction with that aspects alone. That's the basis of the attraction. But that's movement. That's movement. But it's also saying that understanding you will, because even though this is my travel overseas card, but in the kind of metaphysical sense or psychological, emotional sense for me, it's almost like you're crossing other boundaries. You're crossing other worlds or borders in a sense. And you're crossing different lines that are good and may outside of your comfort zone. So that's what this card is really reading to me in this positioning here. And I think that when we focus on like really taking those things that we set so far out and actually say, well, let's just take a trip there. Let me take a trip there with my mind and visit that idea, that intellectual idea, that inspiration. Let me just visit that intellectually and see what happens if I do consider that thought or idea. And when you do, you realize it will become very rational for you. Now, this also, I have to say, with the Six of Swords in this position, is also saying with movement also will come with travel for a lot of people, or taking trips or, going to other countries, visiting other countries. There'll be a lot of that happening with a lot of you guys, within the next month too, of that stirring of wanting to. And if you don't get it done next month, you'll plan for it the following year, right? You'll get that in gear. So, World card is also, which is kind of like side by side with the Six of Swords here. So the world is, to me, again, there's a duality to the meaning of this in this position for me too. It's saying that, one, you will feel like you're completing a cycle for sure in your life. Many guys will be completing a lot of karmic cycles in Scorpio season. A lot of karmic cycles you're going to be closing and wrapping up and putting a bow on. So I just did that for something else actually in my life that I had been working on for a while, and I'm like, I finally feel like I closed it, which is great. It's amazing. And so it's kind of like I feel at peace because of that, and a lot of guys will too when you recognize I just closed a karmic cycle. I'm done with those patterns, actually, not from just this incarnation, but past incarnations. And that's going to feel so empowering to you, but it gives you a lot of direction. So yes, it's a completion in that sense with the world card, but also to me, it's representing you will be connecting more with the world in your own way. In your own way, you'll be connecting with the external world. So that could be new community of people that you're integrating with, new relationships you're integrating with, or like I was saying before, traveling overseas to be around different cultures, different environments. And that's been coming up a lot because, I don't use astrology in my readings. It's all about the individual person. I get all that specifics, and where they're going and all that stuff. So, I've been seeing a lot of that in with my clients' reads about, going overseas. So, but again, that's also metaphoric and rhetorical in a sense of going kind of overseas and crossing the borders in your own intellectual thinking and limitations and jumping ship, so to speak, or going abroad, right? And so the final card with the tarot in this one is the Ace of Cups. And this is my fertility card, but it's also creativity. It's also abundance, right? And so we'll keep it very simple, and it's kind of like more of like a psychic read aspect. Say like a lot of guys might start having a family, want to maybe start having a child or start thinking about that too next month and start kind of really saying, I've been thinking about it. Whether or not you start it then is not the point. You might say to yourselves, I never really thought I wanted kids, but I feel like I do. Or maybe the fact that you don't become solidified. Yeah, I never do. I'm good. That's settled for me, right? So even just the aspect of fertility and giving children in that regard will be heightened, but also creativity, starting new projects, starting new creative endeavor, pushing that in gear. Because I feel like the past 3 months have actually been preparing you for this time. So the movement happened, like I said, in August is where the movement really happened, emotionally, intellectually, clearing out the karma, right? That's where the process began. Now we're completing this, so therefore all that creativity comes into physical motion, as in the beginning with the spread, with the starting of the Devil card. So this is kind of like the 2 in the end. So physicality reaps, and tweaking all that will reap you the physical rewards, the fertility, new ideas, solidifying things, and a huge flow of that, so I really feel that's going to be magical because, I think a lot of you guys have been taught, who've been spiritually inclined, have been taught to like kill this analytical brain. And I tell people, no, if you're analytical, that is one of your characteristics. Why are you using it in a negative fashion? So every characteristic you have has a duality too. So if you're analytical, you can analyze yourself to death to where you're self-defeatist, or you can think in your favor to make reasonable decisions to put yourself in massive amounts of success moving forward because you justified it intellectually. You thought yourself into your favor, therefore you become very solid in your thought. But how are you using your thought, your over analytical thinking? Are you use it in a negative way or a positive way to detract from yourself or to add to yourself? And that's what we have to start thinking about. You could be sensitive. If you're negative in a negative fashion, you will be sensitive, taking everything personally. No one can tell you anything. Take everything personally, right? And so, but if you're on the other side of sensitivity, guess what? Then you could be very empathetic, emotional, right? Expressive with your emotions and bringing that collaboration in with people in your lives because you're aligned and you're sensitive in a wonderful way. And you can be very nurturing to other people in that regard. And just feeling the sense of peace because you know how to nurture yourself. You see what I'm saying? So we have to stop trying to get rid of our own internal characteristics because you have it in a negative, disempowering fashion. It's time to put it in the positive, empowered fashion. Because the duality to everything. How are you using that? And I'm saying positive and negative to be more simplistic, but I hate even the term negative and positive in that sense because it sounds like good and bad and judgmental. I would say there's a disempowered state, one where we actually are already deprived, so that characteristic goes in more in deprivation, or we're in an empowered state. So if we feel good and positive and solid with ourselves and have resolution on things, then we will actually move forward in that empowered state of that characteristic. So if you're depriving yourself, there's deprivation that you have not overcome, and that's where we got to talk about the masculine energy coming in. Right? Because Scorpio season is about setting boundaries, cutting things out, knowing your thresholds, right? That's what it's about. And so with that masculine energy, you have to be brazen. And so when we say the same divine masculine, for people who are new and people who are just like want to associate gender with this, we all have a divine masculine, divine feminine. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about gender. Okay. Everybody possesses a divine masculine, divine feminine. That's our duality. Okay. So let me get that clear for people who are just like, oh, manly and man energy is the only powerful energy. I'm not talking about that. What makes power a complete power is with divine feminine and divine masculine collaboration and integration. So back to, high vibes. We need to bring more of that masculine energy in to where we are really focusing on severing things and cutting things and setting the boundaries. That's what the divine masculine brings. And then we can nurture, because after that, that's self-love. I mean, again, that sounds cliche. Rocco, stop it! Sorry about that. But without self-love, then, that sounds very cliche. We always hear love is love and all that stuff. But self-love is really setting the boundaries for yourself. And even with boundaries, I would like to take that a step further and say, what are your thresholds? What are you willing to take and not take? How far are you going to give yourself emotionally? Right? What's your threshold? What are your parameters? And then the boundaries. Like, let's think in that context. That's really what self-love is. That's the true self-love. And that's the divine masculine is wonderful at doing this. The divine masculine energy is wonderful at setting the tone and protecting and defending. And the divine feminine, can definitely easily come in. The divine feminine can easily come in and help them to nurture after you've done that surgical process during Scorpio season. And again, guys, I was talking about attraction, and this is the card that came out because I had these cards flipped upside down, so I did not see the attraction card. So that's the final card, is attraction. That's what real attraction is. That's the real attraction is. If you want to code reality and program the matrix, then you better start coding it in by your preferences and what you're experiencing it with, because whatever you're experiencing with is the coding you're putting into reality, saying, this is what I am. And whatever you're doing and how you're behaving, so you're just coding the universe saying, this is what I deserve. So understand, like, you're attracting things for a reason, or things are in your life for a reason, and things are not progressing for a reason. There's all a reason behind all of it. Do you want to know what it is? Do you wish to know? And now's the time to say, I got to know. I have to know. So you can remove, solidify, crystallize, and enjoy. And we'll see you next year. Okay. So now moving on to the topic now. I'll get to that now. I forgot we had to do a topic. And that's crooked. Why did that come down? See, now my OCD of this banner is like, there's a little lip on it. See it? That's going to bug me, but I just can't look at it. My Virgo rising's like dealing with that OCD. Anyways, sorry, Rocco was like barking, and I like couldn't concentrate. So sometimes Rocco needs to be like, hey, shut the fuck up over there. You know, this dog is too happy. With Rocco, he cannot not be happy. This dog is always happy. I'm like, stop. He's like, okay, love you. You know, so. So even when I yelled at him, it's like a joke, because it's like, he's not doing anything wrong, but at the same time, he's so hyper and happy. He just got all his test results back with the vet. He's like so healthy for 9 years old. This dog is still a puppy. It's amazing. So if you hear me being loud with Rocco, it's because it doesn't faze him, and I have to get through somehow. So he's like, okay, you know, but he's such a good dog. I love my baby Rocco. He's amazing. And Macy, we have Macy here too. They're the best dogs ever, and the brother and sister energy. Anyways, back to the there he goes again. Back to the topic. Okay, hauntings. We got Halloween around the corner. What are y'all doing for Halloween? You guys gonna dress up, enjoy it? I would say, guys, enjoy. Enjoy Halloween. Like, have fun with it. Let it, let it have you focus on spirit, the spooky, because the spooky to me is just really the unknown. Right, is what spooky really is. What is mysterious to us, unknown? It's spooky, right? But when you become knowledgeable about these things of the spooky realm or the spiritual realm, as I experienced it at a young age, it's really not so spooky at all. It's cool. And I've been saying to myself, I miss hauntings. I want hauntings again. I want things to move. And so it freaks my partner out, because I was trying to do it one night, and like a light flickered on its own. And he got freaked out. So I'm like, I want to do it, but I don't want him to get freaked out. But I miss that. I miss that part of that, because it's fun. It's spiritual energy, right? And there's different layers of spiritual energy, right? And so, we always commonly think about hauntings and haunted houses. And if you listen to my story, I think it was last week I did it. I talked about, living in a house with a poltergeist, and having all that residual energy in the house. But the wonderful thing about all this is those who have abilities ignite it. We kind of shake that energy up because we can perceive that energy. And when we can perceive that or see that unconsciously, it rattles things up. So in a house of such that we call haunted, if we have abilities or we have intense negative emotion or disempowering emotion, that will rattle it up too. Right? Because it's all like displaced energy, displaced power. Because when we're depressed, we're in a negative emotion, or dire straits. That's anxiety and depression is a very displaced energy of power. Basically, your power is displaced. So yes, there'll be lower level entities that want to come and feed on that. Okay, and so people call them demons. I'm like, those are not demons. Like we think, scary, I'm taking over. It's a parasite energy. It's an unformed soul energy. So it's just kind of wants to cling on to whatever free energy it finds. It clings to life. Just like any virus we have in our system, it's not evil just because it's trying to feed on its host. It's just trying to have life. And so the same thing with these lower level entities that we call in these haunted houses, or even just in our life, in general, they'll feed on that energy. But that energy alone activates hauntings, activates a poltergeist. Now, a poltergeist is an entity created by someone who has abilities, but also experiencing trauma. as that's what I created when I was a child growing up. And so there was things in the house that were moving. There were cupboards that would, rattle. I listed all those things, but those who are maybe joining new, I'll kind of say it today. We had remote control cars, move back and forth, wheels turning, and there was no batteries in it. Basement door shaking like crazy, like someone's trying to get out. My sheets got ripped off me one time in the middle of the night. I saw imprints coming through, and I just jumped at a high kick out of there. My brother was pulled back by a force. I'm not kidding you not. I know it sounds crazy. I know it sounds not real, but it's what we experienced, and everyone in my family can recount this the same exact way. And he was being pulled back, and my dad was trying to pull him out of the room, and and there was this force, whatever this energy force was. And so there was an array of things, and people would come over to visit. They would experience it too. A breeze of perfume just gliding on by, and people would just be sitting there like, you smell that? So very interesting residual energies that was left in that house. But of course, my spiritual ass, my psychic ass was activating it without knowing about it, because that's a powerful energy to read it and to see things. But then it's almost like we're flicking on the lights as psychics when we do this, and things start happening in the home. So a lot of these hauntings are from people who have abilities in very dire straits energetically. That also activates residual energy. Now, residual energy in a house and hauntings, right? That energy is really, if you think about imprints. When I say the word ghost, I love the term ghosting on a computer. I don't know if you guys ever heard this on a computers, those old liquid displays. I think that's what they were. Some of them, because now the new ones don't do it, but you'd leave an image on the screen too long and then it would burn into the screen. I don't know if you guys ever had that experience or heard of that experience, but it's called ghosting or image retention or persistence, whatever they call that. And then you have to kind of burn like a white, image on there for a long time to get rid of it. So you put like a white color on the computer, and then in time, if you leave it on a long time, it'll get rid of the image, a ghosting effect. So I like to use that analogy as actual hauntings and ghosts in the physical, the human sense. As that there's a lot of residual energy in places that had a lot of trauma, a lot of heavy energy, even good energy, and that energy gets imprinted in physical reality energetically. Which is why a lot of, like myself, I'm also a physical medium. I walk into places and call it out and say, this is that, this is this, and can call that out because I can sense that residual energy that's been imprinted in reality. It's almost like I see it in my mind's eye, and so a lot of times even those residual imprints can create like different vortices of energy that maybe suck in depression more or, create more chaos. They don't know why, and I've had people like, will book a session and I'll like on Zoom, go through their home. Like there's a vortex there. We got to close that energy here. And I'll go through and they'll tell me that's where I feel energy there. And so there's truths to these residual energies, but they are not ghosts. Those are energetic imprints, right, of things and circumstantial things. Now, when one sees an image of somebody, and it's funny that that's a ghost. It's not an actual spirit when they see an image or, an apparition. That's a ghost. That's an imprint. Now, those imprints, I'll say this, 99% of the times are imprints in that sense in a ghosting. They're not an actual spirit interacting or soul interacting. It's a ghosting. That's why they're always in old clothing. Why are they always in like the Renaissance period, And so those are, I'd say, they're more imprints. Now, when we can connect with an imprint, that can channel someone's abilities to actually tap into the spirit of the person and then create a spirit connection with the individual too, as a linkage in that sense. Those who have abilities consciously or unconsciously. So yes. And so when we understand the ghosting effect, we think we saw an apparition and it goes away. That's just an imprint. And so those are times I like for people. Saging is kind of like what I said about putting that white on the computer screen. So where that persistence will end up getting rid of the ghosting effect. So that's what saging does. And what we do with our energy too. Clearing out the space and then smudging it with an incense or some sort of candle, right? And personalizing the space. That's how we get rid of the ghosting effect, right? So no, ghosts aren't spirits. Spirits don't hover in houses, in haunting, in a sense. It's a ghosting image. Now, there are certain spirits that do connect, and I would say because everything is not always one way, there's certain spirits will connect with an image because people keep resurrecting the spirit of a person, and so therefore they will integrate with it. People that are unconsciously or consciously resurrecting the spirit version of the ghosting image. Right? So this is the layers of what we're talking about. So the spirit now, I would say if we can think of everything where the core is the soul, the core is our soul, we bounce through experiences, different lives, hop in different cars, right? And so the spirit is the physical life once lived. So when we have a physical life and we pass on, this soul generates a spirit version of itself. And so the soul can move on and reincarnate to other things. And soul is connected to the spirit version because it's still part of the soul. But we have a different dimension now of interactability. So our soul has so much, so I can say millions, billions, whatever you want to define the number to be, of past life spirit versions. And so when that spirit version gets generated, well, now that spirit version can still be interactable as the soul moves on. People can commune with the spirit, can consort with the spirit, could, interact with the spirit, can resurrect the spirit version of that. So many people who do these haunted houses, they'll see a ghosting image or see residual energy and then tap into the spirit version of the person connected to that. And this is why it doesn't happen all the time or frequently, is because it's very seldomly that a spirit is still awakened enough to participate. Most spirits have been dormant for so long, no one's channeled them, no one keeps them present, or the family that kept them active has gone so long ago, there's no one really interacting with the spirit version because it's dormant. That's why people say rest in peace. Your soul is still busy, but the soul, when no one's channeling, you want it to rest in peace, so it's not an active spirit that can actually go back to physical locations and cause upset because of when people are channeling their energy and so forth. So no, when you're seeing an apparition or ghosts in your house, that is just an imprint of, again, what used to be there as well. Now, again, what happens is those lower level entities can cling to an apparition, your fear is such, and that makes things move. And so we have to understand the different dynamics. But at the end of the day, we're the ones turning the lights on to it, which is fun. So you can activate. And a lot of you guys have a lot of unresolved trauma and have abilities and not, come to terms with your intuitive abilities or spiritual abilities. And so, yes, that will haunt you. And that will haunt you in ways to show you there's a ghost, there's supernatural phenomena. That will haunt you until you come to terms with it. So understand why you're being haunted in that sense. But once you identify what it truly is, and that there really isn't anyone in the spiritual sense trying to dominate, that's a physical thing. Trying to control another, that's a physical, dense expression. We're all souls, so the souls have infinite power. We know this, so we don't have to take from anyone and anything because we can create whatever we want. We know that we're limitless. But that sense of domination is a physical trait, not a spiritual one. So it doesn't exist on the other levels. Now, there are things that people are doing in a higher dimensionality, like interdimensional beings, that might seem to us as domination or evil, but for them, it's about evolution. It's a perspective thing. So we can easily define that from our point of view from physical reality. But in the structure of things, no, we all know that we can create and dominate. We're basically our own gods in our sense, and that right, because we're extensions of God, so we have the same power, right? That's the image of God. So many people with religion misunderstand. Oh, God, we're creating God's image. Did God have a penis or a vagina? No. God didn't have any of those traits. What is the image of God? Creator. Right? All powerful. Right? So if we're creating the image of God, as these Christian religions like to say, that means the image of God is creation and all-powerful and all-knowing too. So we're just pretending like we're not knowing, so we could also have God have experience of who he is through our experiences because we're connected. I'd say God's a palm, we're the fingers. So it's the point to understand is because then when you understand what it really is, you can have more fun with it. You can understand when you're channeling spirit, and the spirit could interact with the physicality through you because we are being the mediums doing so. Otherwise, if spirit was all over the place in every location and it's just spirits, there would be obvious evidence of that, consistent evidence of that. If they really hovered in the physical world that way, would be evidence one by one, and everybody would just know it. But they don't exist here in this domain. Okay, we bring them in. And we bring them in by our, tapping into the physical location they associated with too, and using our name or whatever unresolved, right? And so when we understand this, then we can explore and have more fun with this and get more information about locations we're in, our own abilities, what we can do, how we can channel our own abilities, and how we can also channel our own soul version and so forth. I think when we look forward to this, right, and we understand the roles that we're playing and the roles that we're also experiencing things on, what doesn't become about what people do, it becomes who we become. And that's the importance. Some people are still stuck in what someone has done to them or how people are behaving or how people are acting. And yes, while we're swimming down here, it's annoying as fuck. And to me, it gets annoying as hell when I see people who know better and calling it out. Even still, but deep down, I know we're all playing these roles. We're all playing these roles, and just as much as they need my role, I need their role too. right? And so it's having a different perspective of the dimensionality of soul and spirit. And again, ghosts could be a fun thing when you understand about a location. So my partner and I went to on this haunted tour. There's a prison in Carson City, like abandoned prison, so really old. So like, ooh, this is cool. And so right when we got in there, we got into the courtyard. It was so cool. I mean, it was spooky, but it was awesome. And, I was sitting there, and Eric was asking me, he's like, so like, how does it work? Does like the thing just come to you? And I'm just like, I said, no, I tune it on. Like I'll turn it on. And it's funny, he asked me as I turned it on, and I told him, I said, right over there, this basketball court, this area, I said, I feel like someone got stabbed, dragged, and killed over here. Right. And so then I was seeing a mound, but I didn't know what the mound was, where they died there was, whatever. And so right when we did a tour, we went to the haunted stuff, and that was awesome. And then when we went to a tour, because we did VIP, right with the location I pointed at, the tour guy said, and here's a guy that stabbed a younger boy, or younger male because of whatever, and then he burnt him on fire afterwards. And I'm like, holy crap. So I said, Eric, see, she's in the location, the cell's right where I pointed. I said, but it didn't happen inside, it happened outside. And when I saw he got dragged from another place, that's probably where he burnt him on fire. But, I didn't smell the fire or sense it because I was trying to have fun anyway. But that's what I picked up on. So, and then he's like, well, how did you see that? I'm like, I just kind of tuned in. I was looking for what I can sense, because before it would come to me like, a lot of you guys who have it undeveloped, like these things come at you like hard, like you just sense it. It's like, oh my God. And, but then once you understand what you're perceiving and what you're reading, like me, I can just turn it off. I'm like, I don't care. I just want to have fun. Or I turn it on. I'm like, I'm going to read what is going on here now. Just like when a client, turn it on. Client's over, turn it off, So yeah, I turned it on. I was looking like, and I saw that in my mind's eye, and I felt it and heard it and all that great stuff. So we all can, that's advanced to do that, but more you develop intuition. I always tell people, they all confirm intuition is real, but they don't say psychic ability is real, right? Even though I've proven that on a past video about ChatGPT and did research, and I always knew this, but I wanted ChatGPT to confirm it with the research, that where do you think psychic ability comes from? Where do you think your ability to read your environment comes from? It comes from intuition. What happens if you are using your intuition, but you grow your intuition? Is there a threshold of how far intuition can go, or is the threshold limitless? And so, like we know in physics and quantum physics that, all probabilities exist, right? So it would have to be made true about everything. So to a certain degree, to a certain level. So when you grow your intuition, you master intuition, that turns into psychic ability. And when you work on your psychic ability, you can push that further into mediumship and channeling. And you can push that forward into physical mediumship, right? So understand, like there's layers to this and different dimensions of such. And so there's nothing to be scared of, especially when you know the levels that you could actually be excited about it and tune more into your own gifts and abilities and allow that to kind of utilize your own position in life, but also how to navigate around others and how to help others to navigate too. So do something spooky this Halloween. Do something that's, connects with the spirit world, or maybe do something connect with your ancestry. Try to say, what's my ancestry? Maybe do meditations of ancestry, or just have a curiosity about such. Research it. Those who aren't really spiritually advanced, and just maybe say, yeah, I'm curious to know who my guides are, and kind of put that out there. Maybe search for it and be open for it and see what happens. So make a connection with spirit this Halloween. Okay. All right. Before we get into the live readings, we have the quick message from Nina, and it's been a long time coming, but she's back, y'all.
Thursday crew, I'm excited to be back and do this channel message for y'all, tapped in fresh. When I was tapping in, I kept seeing the imagery of like, when you lose something and it falls underneath the couch and you're like trying to grab it up close, but you can't fully reach it and you can't find it, so you're just like patting the space. I heard take a step back. Like there's this imagery of going into this week and overall Scorpio season where you take a step back in order to find that thing that you've been looking for, or for something to click fully, they're saying you need to take a step back so you can see the full picture and where it is and what you're looking for. The second imagery that came through was a lot around Spider-Man and spiders and spider webs. When I asked deeper of like why Spider-Man coming up, I'm hearing be patient with your new powers. I feel like a lot of you have been doing the work, have been doing the shadow work, the inner work, and it hasn't been so easy. So there's this moment of you've got these new powers, you've been doing the work, and now it just kind of needs to set in. There needs to be a flow of these new Spider-Man powers that you have now, and be patient with yourself when you're weaving the web. Like there's a silky, sacral, creative energy that's trying to come through going into Scorpio season of rebirth. And I'm seeing the old cobwebs being cleared and you reweaving as the spider a new energetic system for yourself. I'm seeing old systems being replaced by new systems, and this new system is one that you've built off of creativity and joy and love. But all that happens when you take a step back from the couch and of whatever it is you're hyperfixating on right now, and trusting that your new powers are going to kick in. So again, whether it's you're new into like psychic mediumship or working with animals, or oh my god, oh no, it's an ant, guys. I thought it was a spider, but there's a little ant on my glasses. What was I? But I mean, either way, he's putting in some work. But being able to take a step back in order to see the full picture and working on that diligently towards Scorpio season and being kind to yourself in the process of it.
Yes, and that cut off. Nina, you abruptly cut that off. When I was putting it up there, I was like, Nina, fade me out. I'm kidding. But yes, I like the web analogy because, yeah, we have to understand that everything is interconnected in our lives. Like your job, your energy at your job should connect with the energy of your relationship, should connect with the energy of your family, should connect with the energy of your hobbies, should connect with the energy of your money situation, your financial situations, right? So yeah, Nina, I love that analogy, bringing it perfect in conjunction to what I was saying earlier too. So great synchronicity and cohesiveness. Thank you very much for that. And yes, I that's a very good way to think about that, because sometimes we tend to separate everything because they are different, but it's still part of the same web. It's still part of the same you. So it all got to work and together, right? So Nina, that time and healing time has done you well. So very great message, very astute. Thank you for that. Okay, let's get to the live readings without further ado. I need someone to give me some credit here. I don't usually get credit. People always want to just like yell at me for things, and then they don't tell me until like years later. Oh my God, you're right. So I don't really get much of that. But you all great at validating things and helping me out, and give me credit for things. But the one thing I want credit on is like, guys, I've been good with the banners. I've been putting the banners with the sections now. Can you all give me a little bit of a yay? Good job, Scott. That's all I wanted. It's not about how good my sessions are. Not about that. Just I've been good with the banners tonight, so give me some credit. I was thinking about this because I was having time forgetting like every time I go to a topic. So today, like I said, I wanted every subject. In my mind, I said, changing a subject goes with changing the banner, Scott. Let's connect it too. So now it's been natural. So anyways, just make it about me just for 2 seconds, right? The banners are bannering. Hell yeah, right? Scotty is Scottying the banners that are bannering. That's so freaking true. I love it. So, okay, first question from Danny. I'm hoping for this job. Okay, I'm just going to say, if y'all have job questions, I've been getting them overboard, even in my personal sessions. I'm just going to say this before I even look at the question. This is not about the job. It's about you. This is not about finding a job. It's about finding your energy. Okay. So all this process of, is this one the right one? I'm not doing that in my reads with the job option thing. I've said it before. I don't do it with test scores. Am I going to pass the test? Even though I've done it and I said yes, because it depends on where you're at with the question. If you've taken the test and I can then read and say, okay, it will match a winning grade, then yes, I can do that. But some of y'all ask these questions to me prematurely or just need guidance on your actual journey on job hunting. Right? So let's think of it in that context, because I've been getting a lot of the job questions and it's been very redundant for me, but let's do it. Just to give you a little heads up, because man, it's just like, I want to talk about other things and it's not your fault for people who are asking the question. I'm just giving you a heads up about my vibe. So if you see me do a facial about something, it's not personal. It's my own thing, but I'm just letting you know, because I'm transparent, because I'm not perfect either. Right? But at least you know where I stand. You'll always know where I stand, always. But let's get into this. Okay. I'm hoping for this job I applied for. Actually, 2 applications this company is trying to get into. This is not the type of psychic questions I like, but I will do it because I love you anyways. It's coming to the end of the window for me to hear back. Will I get one of them? Thank you. Would be huge for me. Yeah. I see, again, this is kind of the position. It's like, I can't give a yes or a no on this, and I'll be honest, if I can't read something, Let me see where it's at now. Yeah, I'm just, I have to, these reads are not fun for me, to be honest with you. I just got to let guys know where these reads are not fun for me, only because this is like, did I pass a test? I'm going to eat lunch tomorrow. When it's in a situation like this, I can't read it. But these situations, this is inconclusive answer for me. I don't get a read on these two questions or these two applications, excuse me. So, with that said, do I feel the energy that you were putting out prior to this has shifted? Yes, I think that will. And I do think that you will render you definitely will render a position in November. So that's a good thing. Whether it's these two, I don't know. It's not rendering. There's no answer on it. So, you should not be waiting to understand if you do to be happy right now. I have to say this more about the intellectual stuff. And something huge is going to happen anyway, right? So even though I can't really answer these specific two questions because there's no, prediction attached to it right now at the moment, but I feel like something huge is going to happen in November anyways, next month. So I do feel that you are going to find the right match. Let me also read in these situations if these two parts applications are a match for you, or if you built it up too, because that might be a thing that happens that I read as well. I'm like, well, let me see if you actually match these opportunities, because a lot of times people go for an opportunity they think is a match and actually isn't, and then they don't get it because they don't realize it would have been a disaster. I feel like one of the two could be a match. I feel like one of the two can be a match. I don't know which one it is because, again, I don't have the option. You have two applications here. So the second application, I feel like, because I guess I have to look deeper. And this is, again, these questions are not fun for me because I have to go really dive deep in these logistics of things. It's not so black and white. But two applications you put in. And I'm seeing the second application has more of a likelihood of being a match. Not just for them, but for you, as far as the role and positioning. So right now, I feel that there's no conclusion. They haven't made a decision or conclusion yet on this. So that's why I can't read it, right? But as far as your trajectory is concerned, either way, November you're solidified. It feels like by the mid-November. Now, I say this, and that can be very general for people watching, but I have literally a few clients right now that haven't gotten a job in a year. They go to interviews, nothing happens for them. And it's been over a year of people dragging that out because they just don't want to change their energy, or they don't know how to. And so if I say that, I feel like you're not one of those people that's going to drag it out. Okay, Danny? So that's the best I can do in a read of this nature. Okay. If you ask the question when they already looked at the application, your application, made a decision, they're like, oh yeah, they made a decision. Then I would know at that read, but it's just not at that positioning. Because, like I said before, not everything's written in the stars, not everything is predetermined, and not everything is, I would say, there is a thing called randomness. Things do happen, there's randomness in reality. Otherwise, I'd predict lottery numbers and tell you, I'll see ya. And I wouldn't do that anyways. But playfully speaking, there is randomness. And so sometimes these situations are random based on how you are interacting, or if you're in alignment in where you should be heading. So I know, Danny, you're smart enough to understand that. You're in tune enough, not smart enough, but in tune enough to understand this about how I'm giving it to you. And I know you're asking the question as far as saying what's the energy curve, but yeah, I definitely feel like you're putting your energy in the right direction now. I didn't feel like you were before, but I feel like you are now. Okay, so hopefully that helps. I took way too much time on that because I wanted to over explain because I couldn't, but hopefully that gives you enough to chew on. Okay, all right, love you, Danny. Thank you so much for the question. Okay, Noelle wants a card pull, and so we're on to Noelle now. And let's see what she's gonna do. But it's so good when I get questions like that, because I can let people know, look, everything's going to be predictable. We have to shift. This way people are open to guidance when they need it. Because there's a lot of people, and maybe it's just people in the rookie aspect of things, where I feel like people are still kind of thinking that everything is set in stone. But we're, as a reader, like, I can see what's set in stone, but also know what's not, and help you guide you to put it set in stone, or let you know what's coming or not coming, or what's blockage, or if you are blocking. Like, when you go for a read for all that information, life changing. I still haven't gone to a reader myself that gives me all that. It's like, no, yeah, it's always so vague. I'm like, Jesus, guys. And then I have clients that come to me and they're shocked. Oh my God, I can't believe you know that. I'm like, what is my title? I keep saying that to my clients to this day. It's funny. I appreciate it. But I want you guys to like understand, you know, the variables of being tuned to. Noel, you have a lot of... okay. All right. I feel like spirit is trying to come through here. So there is a generous lover in spirit, because this is the lover's card, generosity card, and the lost card. So that's telling me there's someone coming from spirit who could be your mom's lover, mom's partner, coming through from spirit. And there's a generous energy, I feel like, that he's bringing to you. So that also makes me feel like there will be some financial assistance for you, Noel, somehow, some way. Perhaps maybe if you're trying to get some sort of, funding or for something, or a loan for something, or just money for something to do something, or repair, or whatever the case is. I think somehow there will be that generosity coming through, you know, for you in that sense financially, which is you know, very nice and be very good too. And so that's one part of that, Noel. The other part was the Three of Pentacles is really all about my communal card. So I really also feel yonder, what's up yonder, is I think that you're going to find a new community of people. And I don't say that lightly. It's almost like a new group of people. Obviously, it might be more spiritually inclined. I feel like you're going to connect with a newer group, a newer avenue of people. And that might be also, you know, kind of remnants of Unite the Light 1 energy, right? And that coming back in a different community of people that brings that kind of energy again. Or perhaps could be that energy is festering from Unite the Light 1, and therefore you're just going to be a stronger communal bond, I feel. So that's kind of coming ahead too. But whatever this, you know, need, this generosity coming from this lover energy and spirit, which feels like it's your mom's, husband or late husband, or however they want to define. I don't know if they were married or not, but I feel like he's going to help to assist you in whatever this financial need is to repair. You know, so I would look out for that, because I feel like there's a way, something with the house, a repair or change of something with it. You know. Because I still feel a move is coming. Just saying, this also might be contributing to a move. You know, whatever generosity is. You know, so I think that's going to be really cool. All right, card pull for Sydney Aaron as well. Sydney, you are golden, and that's Sydney is here right now too. Sydney's up on deck. Did you say name, Noel? Richard, yes. Yes, Richard, that's who it is. I felt an R name. I'm like, I couldn't place it. I don't know if it was like Raymond, or I just saw an R name. But hey, never really had mediumship come through tarot before. Actually, I have, but not that bluntly. Interesting. All right, it's for Sydney again. So you got the Two of Wands. The Two of Wands is a really good card because it says that you're about to embark on something new or direction, right? But they're also saying that you're still like holding on to these two aspects when there's a middle aspect to go to, right? There's something beyond. So, this feels more emotional in that sense. And with the Four of Pentacles coming in the second position, it's still saying you're holding on to something. Now, this holding on, it really feels like, and the High Priestess card comes after that, you might just be holding on to what you know to be true for yourself, as simple as that is. You might be intuitively feeling like, you know, it's not here or there, it's this way, but like you're still holding on to the fact of like the duality, you know, this two aspects of self that should be moved on, you know what I mean? So I think that if you think of this way and say your intuition really does know, it's maybe about time you start standing up for it. and say, I feel this, damn, I'm doing it. That's what my intuition says, so I'm doing it, right? So it's time for that, because there's a middle ground, this beyond, new horizon, that's really about to open up. And that's, of course, energetic flow. It's like a dam being broken up, so that can convert into aspects with, of course, community and career and relationships and all that great stuff too, right? And so this is where the direction's heading on that. So what you're looking for is not on the two options you've been holding on for so long. It's beyond, and your intuition knows it. So stop holding on to it, like let it go, right? And so it's advice, emotional, but and I do like that the Magician card kind of comes out with this, because it really starts feeling like you will be possessed with that new power of such. You'll be possessed with the power of moving forward with, this energy of like you actually are really creating and dictating and, putting things in play where you deem to be. So there's that definitely emotional flooding of such, and so I feel like November brings a lot of that to you too. February, another boost of that energy. So whatever I feel like is bouncing in November with this energy kind of bounces up again in February too. So there's something you create that also needs to sustain with that energy. So, so that's pretty neat. So I think you will be in, and I'll say it's more figurative speaking, that you'll be in a very creative mode. And I'm talking about like when we talk about the creating reality crap, you're doing it in the real way. You'll feel like you're really creating and dictating with movement. So that's good. That's great. Because knowing you, I can see that's needed, and I could see that's opening up too in that sense. I like that. Okay, Felicia says, "Is my sister going to be completely healed? And also, once she is well, will she want to go back to her boyfriend?" I don't feel like she's going to be completely healed in that sense. Things may go in remission. Things might pop up. They go in remission. So I feel like there will always be occurrences, but to where it's manageable, right? And so will she go back with the boy? I feel like she will go back to the boyfriend, kind of. But I feel like she has another eye open, your sister. So I feel like what's going to happen is that she's going to have an eye open, and when she approaches to go back, she's going to realize, this boyfriend isn't really there for me, and really isn't supporting me as much as I thought he would, right? So I feel like she's opened her eye up to something, and because of this experience, and so that she may go back and then realize, I'm done with this girl, and decide to wrap that up because of the fact of I feel her saying that you weren't there you didn't do enough when I was going through my period, right? So I feel like this experience will snap her out of it, but completely healed, no, but I feel like she'll get it under control. And there might be like pop-ups of things coming up, and then also being able to suppress it, and, but I feel your sister having a better time, it's going to take time of managing those things, so yeah. But, let her be aware, Felicia, that she is kind of like eyes open now. She's kind of seeing things a little differently. She may know how to communicate or convey that, or how to act with that right now. But just if you're seeing her kind of having feelings about things, just, don't push her, just support her and say, yeah, you do deserve better. You deserve people there for you. Instead of saying like he's a piece of crap, he's not there for you, say, I'm here for you, sis. You got me now, and you need more people there for you around. And just saying things in that nature, she'll start eventually equating. You know what? You're right. This guy's not. Is this guy there for me? So yeah, I feel that type of experience with it. So it's actually positive. That's another positive. Again, I hate saying positive, but I have nothing other word to say to people who don't understand anything other than positive and negative. It feels expansive. It feels your sister having a slow enlightening to what's going on. So, good for her. All right. Next question is from Mighty Scotty. Okay. 2 possible job options. Here we go. The job. See, I'm telling you guys the job questions all over. Which one is best aligned with long-term growth? Good questions. Love the questions. These are, see, Monty? And Danny knows too. Because Danny and Marty know how to ask their questions. I just saw Job when I saw Danny, but they know how to ask the questions. And this is how you ask it too. So Marty knows how to do it. She says, which one is best aligned with long-term growth, stability, and harmony? One, assistant to new startup project, community, brand, regulating nervous system, practice for ADHD and neurodivergent with Mark, or guest service coordinator at Botanical Garden. Well, I think you kind of nailed it on this one. Like, you answered your own question. Long-term growth. Well, you're very clear on the question. You could have just said, hey, Scott, what do you feel better, 1 or 2? That's a good enough answer for me. Which vibe do you feel is best for me, 1 or 2? I will nail it for you. But you went into depth about option number 1. Let me read this, though, because it was very obvious to me, but I want to read it more. I really do. I mean, just the fact of what you're saying with the ADHD and the neurodivergent with Mark and learning that and being around that and nervous system practices, that is actually the space you should be into. The service coordinator at a botanical garden, yeah. I mean, there's ways you can learn about so many things with the herbal essences and stuff in that neighborhood. I don't talk about the shampoo. But I just feel like you're more intrigued to do more of the spiritual practices in conjunction to the nervous system. So I really feel being around the nervous, and I feel like I'm almost like you'll be working there anyway, or working with this, or doing something in that avenue anyway. Now startups can be hit or miss with startups, right? But it's the experience and connections that you need in that realm. Okay, so that realm of work is where you need to go. Even if you have to maybe take a sacrifice and pay or certain aspects, it's going to be the best to push you forward in the direction in the long run. I think you'll enjoy the service coordinator at the garden, but you'll learn about other things. But there's a blocking of what I feel you're really looking for. So I think this one, let me read the startup too to see if it's actually, if it could actually happen. I will tell you, this one feels like it's pretty grounded to me. There's always going to be issues. Don't get me wrong. Let me make sure it's not so black and white. Because you said it could be good, but there was an issue. It's like there's always issues, but it feels even through issues that it might have, it still feels like will be grounded and solid. And so yeah. And it's funny I say solid, and here's the 4 of the wands. I asked for confirmation. The 4 of wands is a grounding energy. So it's like my new home card, real estate card, but it's also your sanctuary grounding energy. So when it's a grounding energy. So yeah, it feels good in that regard. I'll pull one for the 2. So I'm going to say option number 1 because the avenue, the environment it's in. I wouldn't say it feels like a crazy thing. Startups could be good, and sometimes people are more ambitious with a startup. But the direction it is different than just a normal business. So I think that's going to do. Yeah, no, I know a lot are toxic, but also even other environments are toxic too, not just startups. So. But I'm just trying to pull a card for the. It's interesting. The Ace of Pentacles comes with the service too. I think if you chose that direction, it would be just for the money, and you make good money doing that and work in that direction too. But I think it would just be just about the money. So they both seem very solid, opportunities, but it's really depending on which direction you want to go in the long term. But they both read again good. But it's really what you're wanting to have first for me. But again, I've read another startup company. I think yesterday a client of mine was doing a startup, and I told her she'd be doing 2 startups years ago, and she is. And they both read really good. They both have really good energy, and she had great experience at the last startup she left, but she's just she's trying to grow her abilities, and she needed time off for her kid, and so but she had a great environment there, and this is another great environment. So there's a lot of good startups today that are very ambitious and going in different parameters than they used to be. And so yeah, so I'm saying this because I feel that with Mark for some reason. Will there always be one whack job? Sure, but I feel like the gist of that, I like even Mark's vibe, this with Mark energy. Again, he's good at being cheap though. Okay, he's good at being cheap, so make sure you don't be privy to his cheapness. Okay, But yeah, I feel like the service corner job will be kind of hectic. It feel like you know what you're doing, but I feel like that environment feels more hectic. Even though the other environment feels busy, it's a good busy. So sometimes it's also good hectic. Like it's hectic, but it's good. Like we're doing so much, and so I think you'll enjoy that type of hectic in the sense of it being busy, but also very intriguing. So, but I feel like the hectic in the guest service coordinator at the garden will be hectic in a different way, like with dealing with personalities and stuff. But don't fear it. If it's my love, let me give you a little bit of a chat here, heart to heart, before I move on. I've been being very gracious with my energy here for these one questions. Okay. But let me have a heart to heart. You need to not have any environment take you down if you know it's the outcome of what's going to give you what you want. Close it out. Shut it out. Too many people are allowing this, and then they amplify any other behavior because they're so afraid and so fearful of doing it again. They'll amplify the most basic energy. Get over the fear of that and put that in saying, well, I'll just block it out. If this is what I want to do, then fuck the people and the personality and the politics, office politics. I don't got to intertwine with that. That's why there's a lot of people when you go to these jobs, they are quiet. They just sit back and you don't ever hear from them because they know I'm just doing my thing. I'm going on. I don't need to deal with y'all, right? So, and I know with Startups Love, it's very intertwined. People are very intermingled and so forth. But again, you do your job. You keep your eye on the prize. There's always going to be conflict of personalities. Don't allow yourself to be too sensitive to it. Because sometimes when things are starting up, things are fragmented, there's going to be some bumping of heads, but it solidifies, right? So give yourself that time to breathe and also the opportunities time to breathe on their own, okay? Moving forward. Because I got to be mindful of my time, too. Because I go over. It's not your fault. It's mine because I don't shut up sometimes. Because I like to be clear. And off topic, I cannot stand, and I'm going to be transparent, too, when I give details for 45... Actually, I'm going to talk about this for a minute. I'm going to talk about it. I've been doing my work professionally. I've been saying like a broken record for 12 years, going on 13. Now, soon. And so... And I've been doing readings my whole life, even just professionally. And I put so much energy, as you guys see, I put into one question, so much energy in detail and clarity and guidance and even specifics about even how to read into my sessions. And I do it with care, but you all see me, I'm blunt, I'm direct, I say things how they are, I'm humorous, but also I will put nurturing the fuck into it. I don't know how I can emphasize, I nurture the fuck out of things, right? Because I care and I put that energy into it. I cannot stand when people are in their fear mode, and this is actually a session I had last week, and they're in fear mode. Everybody's their work environment's the problem, their work boss is the problem, everyone they date is the problem, right? If you're in that circumstance and someone is coming in to give you the clarity and power of how to shift that energy and how to take responsibility and take control of that so you can actually allow yourself to be in an environment that is maybe challenging, but you could still do what you need to do and be object unaffected and ways to do that. If I take my time to lay that out, if I take that time to nurture and tell you how to guide and put love into the self so you can have a good picker, if you're going to take all that energy and you're going to narrow it down to, I was just being dismissive and telling you had a bad picker and I mad because I told you how to do it. My title is fucking mentor, right? So it's always these people I've had in my time. People was asking me, have you ever had a bad session? I'm like, yeah, I've had about 5 in 12 years. Thank God it's only 5. And I remember every single one of them. If you're looking for guidance, take the information. Because now I'm like, okay, everyone in her job's a problem. She's alone with that. And now the dates are a problem. Now I'm the problem because now she's realizing I'm saying, oh, but you have the power to change that. So I'm the problem, right? So take the information. If I'm going to put that amount of time and energy into something, don't pervert it. Don't simplify it because there's layers and depths to things that I like to be very clear about. So that is why I spend time even on these one questions sometimes because there's so many different layers that need to be expressed. It's not so black and white. You got the job. It's not that black and white. And so we need to start breaking out of that black and white mentality. Sometimes you're not getting the job or it's not determined, right? It's because of you're asking every step of the way and things are rendering. So we have to understand how reality is too. So yeah, I've had a lot of cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs responses. And at this point, I'm like, people just tell me, oh, they're crazy. I'm like, I don't want to just write someone else crazy. I'm like, did I say this? I'm like, no, I'm so, and so, but I'm also tired of people blaming other people who are trying to help help them. So don't be one of those people because of past experiences. That's how I saw this particular woman who found me on YouTube, by the way. And so you see how I am. And so don't be surprised that I deliver it. So don't be surprised, when you're in circumstances that are heavy and thick, that you start amplifying things in the rest of your life because you don't want to experience it. And then you just become a walking manifestation and meditation of keeping the same pattern going. The question is, how can I maneuver around difficult environments? And no matter what the circumstances are with management and so forth, how can I maneuver around this is the question you ask yourself. Not, is it going to change because I just complaining about it? No, not happening. So, not that this is you, Marty Scotty, but I wanted to let you know, like, don't let yourself fall into that pattern as this one client did. Now she's blaming someone who's giving her great, valuable advice and nurtured the hell out of her. And she's just like, no, but you said this and I can't let go of it. Like, don't be that person. It's sad because people like that go backwards, unfortunately. And I don't want to see any of you guys go in that backward pattern and become a victim to reality and then start blaming everybody else. It's the psychic, it's the therapist, now it's everybody, it's like, don't go down that pattern, please. And don't do it with your relationships either. So I just really had to kind of get that out of the system too. Because when I get one of those people, I always like self-reflect. Am I responsible? And once I come back to a conclusion, like, no, I will, call it out for what it is. Okay. Y'all want to know any other bad ones I have? No, I know you understand all that, Marty. Just sometimes like I read something and it brings inspiration up to something, so I can correlate and like, don't go that direction, because I feel like there are things that may be difficult and you can maybe just say, it's cool, I'm writing this out, and you'll find so much joy and peace and wonderful circumstances. Like, yeah, it was difficult, but it didn't knock me off. And I'm glad I didn't pass up on this. That's where I want your heart to be, Marty Scotty. Because you got that in you. And sometimes big hearts can, we can weaken up and be sensitive, and that's cool too. Just know that so you can protect it and guard yourself and, move on. So, but it disappoints me when people can pervert a message or, and I want you guys to really embrace those insights, because I believe I'm a conduit for spirit and your soul. It's not Scott Cruz here that's on here. Scott Cruz is laid back, quirky, farts around the house, plays music, and very insightful, and that's Scott Cruz. But when I come on doing my work, I find it's a responsibility of mine with every client, every read. I'm responsible to relay information that's accurate to what is really happening. So I got to be a damn good psychic, be also honest about how things work. Otherwise, I would not be here doing any of this. So it's a responsibility. And so I have to sometimes be stern about these things, because I want you guys to understand it and not let these sensitivities, dominate, right? So that's my little soapbox. Back to Beth. Beth says, I've been back with that man for almost 2 months. We love each other. When was the last time he hooked up with my former blonde acquaintance? Tonight, he said he's out with a male friend. Who is he with? Oh, Beth. You don't love each other. There's an obsession, and he's conditional. He's controlling. Okay? We need to define love, and I'm not going to spend too much time on this either, because I need this to be simple and to the point. But I don't feel like this isn't love here, Beth. Okay? There's a control aspect he has, and so, he has not, I would say the month 1 that you've been back together, he's not been completely faithful. Okay. And I do believe he's out with a male friend tonight, but there's also a female friend with the male friend. So I don't think the female friend is necessarily connected with him. So I do believe that's true. He is out with a male friend, but there is a female friend with the male friend. So that's true, but I also feel like he has not been truthful about the first month. So to me, I don't think that's in love. And so if you define someone who's controlling, dismissive, and unfaithful to be love, then I would urge you to redefine what love is for yourself. And I'll also, urge you to say, what do you love about someone you have to constantly not trust? Because it's not that you have trust issues. This person is giving you trust issues. Big difference. And so ask yourself, do you love that? Do you love feeling like that? Do you love asking these questions? Or should you be able to trust the person that you're with because they're trustworthy? And I know you're not misreading things, Beth. You're reading things accurately. and you understand that you cannot trust this person is controlling and dishonest. That's not love. So, but again, answering questions more simplistically, no, he has not been completely faithful, especially in the first month. So I feel like that's probably the first month you bet back together where that occurred. And he is out with a male friend, but there's also a female friend in conjunction too, but it doesn't feel like it's so connected with him, but there could be a female friend of interest or something like that with this male friend, you know? So yeah. So that's what we have to reanalyze, Beth. Like, what are you saying what are you saying that love really is? Are you defining it to be that? You know, otherwise this will be a continuation, and I would hate to see you continue through this pattern. But if you have to go through it, please be objective enough to learn about, like, do I need this? Like, ask those questions, you know? So again, don't feel guilty for going back, but ask yourself, be aware, like, do I deserve this? Is how I want to be? Is how I want to feel, you know? And that'll have, at some time you'll snap out and be like, you know, I deserve it more. All right, question from C. Henry. Karma. Hi, Scott. It's been a minute and I missed last week. I took a class and I've been looking at for years. Great. Full week official state animal welfare course, and I passed. I knew, see, that's one thing we said you'd do was pass, which I knew you were, because, and see, now in this situation, when I knew she'd pass her test, because this was her path. I told her, or like a year ago or months ago, I said, this is your path. You'll be working with animals and do this with horses, and this is what you'll be doing. So I knew she was already in alignment. So therefore the passing of tests is like a no-brainer. That's aligned, right? So in that case, I predicted that because it was in her trajectory to be doing this all along. So that's predictable. But she's saying, I don't know which direction to go from here. What do you see in my career path? Okay. I don't, Karma, why are you answering that question after you pass the test? You're going to be going the direction, again, with working with animals. Or, excuse me, with horses, animals. So I think, again, I always saw you working with horses, so there's so many different avenues with horsing that you can do. Like, the image I always saw you is like you're leading them somehow, but that's the leading of the horses isn't so much that you're training them, but maybe you're leading them to, you know, help protect them, or for the welfare, well-being of such, right? Or leading them to better health or better care. So that's the direction. I think this is for you to ask yourself more specifically. Sorry, because I'm wearing just boxer shorts. My skin is sticking to the leather chair. Good to know, right? But I really feel like it's your time now to create and define the specifics of such. My job is saying, we push you in the direction, you're in that direction, you pass your test, good. My job is to say, I still see what I initially saw as you guiding horses, guiding them. Not training them or riding them, but guiding them. So your question to answer is, in which context do you wish to define that as? Right? So this is the creating in real time, where we use our free will to say, okay, I'm in the right direction. Now, which way do I want to express it? This is something that I feel like is your time, your direction to do so. So how would you want to lead with horses? Does that mean you want to do horse therapy or, you know, equine therapy for horses? Does that mean you'd like to do something where, you know, you do therapy for people and horses, lead them to protect horses, or put them in better environments or better care, or work with a adoption, you know, for horse? I know that we have this out here in Nevada. So yeah. And so this is what we think about. Oh, you said not sure the finding resources at this time, still waiting the court case to resolve. Yeah, well, I mean, take your time on that. You're not going to find anything now. It's more about research about the different aspects of it, though, Karma. So like I was saying, what different expresses you want to go into and look specifically in that direction. Don't just be like horse working. Like I said, equine therapy, you might not find them like horse jobs, but you might want to learn equine therapy too in conjunction. So these are things to think about, more of a direction of what you wish to utilize the horse energy for, right? Okay, so pick one specific niche in that and look there. Because yeah, you say all above, like I know this, but you got to start with one first, and that will give you clear direction, right? So that's what I mean by defining and picking it. Like you got to pick that one and start there, and then of course all the other ones will build on that. So yeah, you're supposed to ponder this. Like, and people think because they're pondering something, they're not supposed to ponder. No, there's the pondering phase is the exploration phase. We are meant and called to sit and digest and marinate on stuff too. So please don't think that's a bad stage that you're marinating right now, because it's you have to. And understand the direction, how you want to tweak things in the physical form. Now we're in the physical life. We plan things in the non-physical, but now we're in the physical life. We can see things a lot more clearly, that we can like alter things more specifically that we don't predetermine too. Remember that part. So yeah, pick the one, go with the one, master the one, and then bring the others on board too. And sometimes when you're mastering one, you realize it does involve the other, and then it works in conjunction. So think of it that way. I think you have the full plate here, and like, where do I start eating? It's like, pick a food, right? So. And you may be able to dabble. Depends on how you learn about that, but you'll figure that out. It's like I said a year ago. It's all aligned that way. But the specific expression, like I've always said, is something for you to figure out first, and where you want to guide that. I did see the whole leadership of that too, but right now, be more specific. Like the collective read, I said, pick the parameter that will be the most beneficial now. Okay. So, and the court case will wrap up. In due time as well, and that will kind of give you more of a breathing too, because you're still letting that anchor you down, as it shouldn't anchor you down at all, but you're still letting it kind of anchor you down a bit. But I will say this: those of you guys who had job questions today, I will say it's about all three of you guys. You're all on the right path. I will tell you this: whether or not I could read specifics about with Danny or not, every single one was like, but they're all on track for me. Like, there's no that year looking for a job energy, or like nothing's working for me. Like that's not one of you guys who asked the job questions tonight, which thankfully you all asked me in the best way to ask them. So thank you for that. I didn't know until I read the questions. So good job on that. But you all are on the right path with it. Okay. Some logistics are mysterious in our world and creation, and sometimes I can't answer those things. I'll be honest, but you all feel very bright with that moving forward. And so again, November Scorpio season solidifying, crystallizing. So you all will crystallize by next month for sure. And I say that to be generous because it happened before. It could even happen in another week or so for you guys. But that's the thing that's just unpredictable at this time. So let it be mysterious and let yourself have a little bit of anticipation. A lot of times it's not predictable because Spirit's like, you need the anticipation, you need the excitement, you need a little bit of anxiety, you need the unknown. And that's also needed. All because we're psychics doesn't mean all of a sudden the unknown doesn't exist anymore. Sometimes things have to be mysterious and unknown. I know this with my life. Some people want to tell me my future. I don't want to know about that. I said, I want it to be mystery for me. I want it to be unknown. I want the little steps to be kind of maybe just, let me see, right? So that's another way to kind of embrace, where you're going through now, and let the intuition guide you in these cases like that aren't so carved out as of yet, But a lot of you guys are starting new babies, like we said in the collective read with the Ace of Cups coming in and fertility energy. A lot of you guys are starting new babies, so you got to really, nurture it, feel it out, Okay, we have two more. Next is card pull from Allie. My dog's hacking over here. My Rocco's been very cuckoo today. Rocco and Macy and Eric make me laugh so much. There's no way someone can come into this house and just not laugh, because we're just between Eric, me, and these two dogs. Isn't it nice to have a partner? Wow, this came out. Wow, that's awesome. Isn't it nice to have a partner that we just laugh? We both just laugh. Where our stomach hurts every day. So, okay. Allie, this is interesting. So, this is legal. It's probably maybe an ongoing legal thing. So the Ace of Swords for you, I shuffled 3 times. The Ace of Pentacles came out, I put it back. I shuffled again. Ace of Pentacles came out, threw it back again. Ace of Pentacles came out after I shuffled, came out again. So there's that's obviously needed to come out. But what was laying underneath it was, and maybe not so much that I need to throw the Ace of Pentacles back in, because I knew it was going to come up again. It was a card that needed to fall behind it, which is why I believe intuitively I did it 3 times, because this is legal. This is like cutting the cords, or at least severing the ties of getting the legal rewards or legal, what's due to you. I'll say this. What's due for you. So the Ace of Swords is a wonderful energy of kind of severing. This is very legal too with the swords, but it's also very emotional too, very direct. So I feel like there's either someone that helps you with this, or this legality comes to play. Okay. So yeah, I think that's good news on that. So at least momentum on that, what's going on here in the chat? I need to go read in my chat again. What's happening here? I've been wanting to just walk away. Yeah, but again, I told you this would be a long, drawn out journey. you know? So something puts an end to this, Allie. Something puts an end to it, you know? Trust me, sometimes when I'm getting reads, I'm like, I would advise, I'm like, this logically makes no fucking sense. But then I go with the read, and the read ends up turning out to be what happens. You know, I'm the first person to like, I don't take too much time on things, but sometimes things just do. You know, there's a lot of logistics, but I feel like something or someone comes in to like put the kibosh on it for you, Allie. You know, so this is Allie. I'm going to say this. This is karmic. This is karmic. This is all about control. This is all about taking control. You know. But yes, and that you said that, yeah. But this is karmic for you, okay? But we'll leave it there because, as you said, it's too much for here. I will leave it there. But this is karmic, and so that's why the only reason why it's taking much time. It's about not being controlled and taking your control. And when you kind of just master that energy a bit, this situation is kind of just like, psh. So they're saying there is an end in sight where the kiboshness comes out, but that Ace of Pentacles is saying like you're getting what you're due. You'll be getting what's entitled to you in that sense. Because that's slapped out 3 times. So that's a good, there's light at the end of the tunnel of this. But yes, we talked about this before. Ali said it's a long thing. You need new visors. I think the visors come in. And so it's a process. But it almost feels like you're at the end of it, Ali. It almost feels like you're at the end of that a little bit too. Maybe you're almost on that brink of that emotion. Maybe that's also the emotional, you're on the brink of that emotional, I'm done energy. And so that's also a good thing. Yes. And Allie, the Ace of Swords is a very like cutting deep energy too. You know what I mean? But that's almost going to be how this resolve on this happens too. You know? Okay. Last but certainly not least, a card pull for Heather C. I'll just say Heather C. I don't know, there's a cat around you, Heather, that needs some like better diet or something. If you have a cat or a friend has a cat, there's a cat around you that needs some better dieting, has a upset stomach or something. So yeah, there's a cat around you that's, I don't want to say sick, but just is not doing well, needs to change their diet. So it could be, if it's not your cat, maybe a friend of yours has a cat. So I don't know. I'm picking that up. Unless a stray cat comes in that needs some care. I don't know why that's coming in, but that just randomly came in to me. Shuffle here. Okay. And that's definitely a read because I don't, I'm a dog boy. I just can try to say it nicely. And I was also reading the cards here. Something with a housing situation here, or conflict over a housing situation. I also feel like there's a move. You know, is that you, Heather? Is that you, Heather? Oh, so if you lost your stray, oh, there you go. So that's why. Remember, I said that where a stray cat comes in. So your cat is in spirit, is around you. So I was saying this cat is like needs sick or needs some care or change. It had stomach issues, and I feel like it was like, or maybe a stray cat comes in. Remember I said that. So yeah. So if you lost your stray cat this year, that the spirit of your cat's around you. Okay. So no, it's your cat. And there's something distinct about the cat's tail too. You know, I get 2 different colors, you know, or white or brown. I get a mix. I don't know if that's the right colors, but something about the color scheme to me. And it's something with the tail. So your cat's around you. It's more that. So I'm like, I just didn't expect when I looked to do you that there's a cat around that, you know, and perhaps maybe you have some questions. There was some stomach issue, I feel like, with the cat, you know, too. And maybe the food, different food. And I don't know if you would be able to understand the kind of digestive system issues it was having. But I feel like there was like no way you could have really prevented it too, either because of the cat's condition. And so I think you've done everything you could do to help with that cat in a sense. So maybe that's the information, because the stray cat energy made me feel like it needed some care and nurturing, but you got it. But I think there was already things it had prior, you know. So yeah, I believe about most of our pets. Hold on, let me text my partner and make sure he's actually. We have a tart. He's supposed to defrost and cook. I'm gonna make sure that chocolate tart, is cooked when I'm done. Cook that tart. Bought this from Sprouts. So stupid. We bought from Sprouts a big tart, chocolate tart. It was like meant to be. It's frozen, but then we defrost it. And I started eating it, but then we're supposed to freeze it and cook it while it's frozen. So I'm like, I just ate raw dough, and so I think that I get sick. Anyways, so back to you, Heather. So besides your capping around you, there might be some issue with the living situation, because the Five of Wands is also saying we've got the Four of Wands and the Five of Wands. So it's interesting. So that's my new home card. But with the Five of Wands coming in conjunction to that, it's also saying that there might be some issues with a place or renting or roommate, someone with that. But I also feel like you resolve it. See, this is why. See, by mistake, my partner sent me a picture that the tart is done. See that? I wish I could show you guys a picture. So the tart's done. See, we're in sync. But I think this issue with the home issue will resolve and maybe push you into a new home or new environment. And so it feels like it'd be a struggle with it for a little bit, but then it would resolve. Like, you start seeing through that spirit's like, no, it's unexpected, but it's time to move on. It's time to, it's pushing me in a newer direction. So I feel like there'll be issues, but it will resolve and you'll find a new place, a new environment, and more of a living that's conducive to your energy now. So there'll be changes with that. I feel like that's probably within the next 6 months. I'll give it, if I put a time frame, I look at the time frame on it, I would say 6 months on this. So just understand when that starts happening, we feel like there's issues with, your home, renting, whatever the case is, whatever you're doing, or conflict. And if you own a home, it could be conflict with neighbors and stuff like that, just pushing you to say, I'm going to move, just understand spirit is trying to direct you with that. This way, the logistics of this complications, the logistics of this fighting won't go on forever. Okay. So, you'll be like, okay, I dealt with it. I'm out of it. See ya, so, thank you. I intended to in the poll about moving and separating. Okay. Well, there you go. Yeah. So, just don't let that conflict get to you. So it pushes you out in a newer direction. Okay. Because I feel like this conflict is involving more than one person. So if it's a separation you're talking about, it could be their family gets involved, other people get involved. They start like putting their nose. It's just people putting their nose into shit that don't belong. Maintain your ground. You'll be good. Okay. All right. Let me just double check. I think that was, again, last but not least, guys, you're all awesome. All your questions, as I read, all your questions are wonderful questions, great questions, important questions. And we just got another question in. Let's make sure I did it. So, and every read that I got was, I felt movement for all you all. And I'm not saying this to make you all feel better. I mean, I feel this. I'm not the type that's going to blow smoke up your ass to make you feel better. If it's true and makes you feel good, wonderful. I'll make you feel better by guiding you if I have to. But the reads are the reads, okay? Whether it makes you feel good or not, they're the reads. And so if it's a bad read, then I will do my work like, okay, I want to comfort, I want to nurture, and put it into perspective so they understand the power, all that great stuff. Y'all go in the right direction. And there's a lot of great movement. Just don't get mad when things hiccup. Don't get panicky when things hiccup in life. It's going to happen. I just hiccuped. And so I didn't die. I didn't stop. So, all right. Teresa White has two questions. Okay. One, I haven't been in a relationship in a long time, 10 years. What do I need to know or do to be in a healthy, loving, long-term relationship? Good question. But without being too... Jesus Christ. Yeshua. See, when I say Jesus Christ, it's because I'm like in amazement. Wow. Not like, damn it. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I say it's because you got the Four of Wands too with the Two of Cups. So, Teresa, y'all getting the Four of Wands tonight. Four of Wands for everybody. I feel like the Oprah of the Four of Wands here. You got Four of Wands. You got Four of Wands. You got Four of Wands. So yeah, Teresa. So basically, this is saying that the reason why I think you've been blocking yourself. I feel like you're blocking yourself from that is that you're living too single. It's almost like you got yourself in a position that you don't want to share your space. Your space feels very kind of where you're isolated in your home. So I would advise cleaning that energy up just a little bit by maybe having some gatherings over at your place. Maybe have a guest over or do some game night at your place. Spark up the energy, right? And so, so hold on a second. Let me see what, just got a text on. So yeah, get yourself in that energy. So bring people in, entertain. That'll change it. But they're saying you got so, into your own energy in that sense, which is not a bad thing, but you've got so settled in your ways in that sense in the 10 years. And I think that's going to help you to push out, So, no, Teresa, we're on to you. You probably, maybe there's the lag. And the Lover's cards comes after this. Okay. Nina, if you can get a timestamp of when I started this so you can send it to Teresa. She might be lagging. So just maybe if you can get a timestamp somehow on another computer, because it's all hers. I'm not repeating this. So it's good information. So she might just be lagging, or she doesn't think I'm talking about her when I said Teresa White 3 times, but I think she's lagging. But yes, this is all for Teresa White. Like I said before, this is all Teresa White's questions. The question was, haven't been in a relationship in a long 10 years. What do I need to know about being a healthy, loving, long-term relationship? And this is the question the cards got pulled for you. And the questions, I got both. It's 4 of Wands. You got the 4 of Wands. And also the 2 of Cups, all about partnership. But also the Lover's card came in conjunction to it. So, but this is telling me you got to welcome people in. Because I do feel like they're saying to prepare for this, because I do feel like it's also right around the corner too. So probably spring of 2026 might be where things start coming in, but you got to create that space in your foundation of your home to be open. It just feels blocked. It feels like it's too Teresa energy. It's too Teresa's ways energy. So like, it's my energy, but like, I'm leaving this open for this, and that's very symbolic and more energetic, but that'll kind of create that spur. Trust me, I know that. I was single for 10 years and I didn't want anything in my life. I was like focusing on career, my abilities, and I didn't want anyone in. And so everything was Scott Cruz, until then when I started to develop the relationship with the partner I have now, like I had to realize, it's not, I got to start clearing that space and opening the space up. And when I did, it was easy to do it. So it feels like there's that around the corner in that sense. The second question is general guidance on healthy friendships. Thank you. Well, I mean, it's going to be general because we don't have much time, because a full read I can go more specifically on current friendships and all that great stuff. But healthy friendships, what's the specific they want to say in this? Because that's a loaded question and I need to simplify. Yeah, I don't want to say this. I don't want to offend you by saying this, but I not that I'd be offended, but I don't want you to take this out of the wrong way that you never do this. But I feel like they're saying friends need to be heard too. And we're going deep with making sure people in your life are heard, not so much hearing what they're saying, but what they're not saying, right? Like reading between the lines, being intuitive. So I feel like it's more of that. And I don't feel like you've always been this way. You might have developed this in time, which is completely natural, normal, that maybe you've gotten so exhausted doing that in ways that you kind of shut down, right? And rightfully so. But I really want you to come back at this and say, I want to really hear and really feel what people are saying. You know what I'm saying? And then when you do this, you realize that the relationships are not so much them talking your ear off, not so much that they're, saying things that you have to, you just like, I can feel their vibe, their essence, and that will get you more attracted to the right people in that sense. So really listen to what people are saying by what they're not saying and be more in tune to that. Because before I feel like maybe you've been dumped on a lot by people and just hearing a lot. And so then you kind of shut down. Like, I just want to be in my space, which is good. But now we got to find that balance of like catching up to, okay, now I've set my threshold, but now let's open up again with knowing what my new boundaries are. So it's more about the allowance of letting it in that sense, and thankfully it's just behavioral. Right, just kind of like redirecting your behavior, changing behavior, because energetically, if like you're ready for that, you'd want it. You just got so used to the behavior that kept you safe and set the parameters, but now you can start opening some new doors. They're saying so. So that's how, and your tolerance level. I call it threshold. What's your threshold with people? And don't go above your threshold. and I think it's just more that introspectiveness that I think is going to help you on the emotional, intellectual level, but that also shift a lot with your intuitive stance on things, how you read things, and also how you bring things in. Right. And so I feel like, that's like it's spring of next year, right? I feel like, there might be that dating, momentum starting, and also with friendships in the same way, because usually with dating, also friendships come into, there's just more of that active social allowance, coming in soon. But that Lover's part, Two of Cups that came in for you is very, very clear about, it's almost like it's like right around the corner, too. Because Two Cups and the Lover's card came at the same time. That's like, that's the next chapter, because those are my two cards that are like the epitome of relationships. Now, Four of Wands, I deem it to be like, that's, a lot of people use the Four of Wands for marriage. And yeah, if that comes into, I'll read it as marriage, but a lot of times it's my home card. But I don't think marriage is next right immediately, but partnership is. So, okay. Make sure that was the last, because I almost closed down, and that one came in a little later. But yes, Nina, we are closed with the sessions. By the time people read that message, I'll probably be offline, and so you can tell them. But I think by the time someone does it, it will be gone. But yeah, that's it. Perfect. So I have a chocolate tart to get to now. All right. But I also want to show you guys something. I don't know if you guys seen it posted before, but those of you who haven't, we've had a thank you Starlight Reboot. I know I love that name, and I love you. I love both your names. I love Starlight Reboot. I love that name, and I also love the Madi Scotty name. Like, I love it. So, I love your vibes, right? And so, good stuff. And Madi, really go toward the neurological sides, connecting the neurological sides in the mind and the thinking part and nervous system with spirituality. That is your gateway. That's your direction. So go with it. I think you have some great magic to do there. Okay. And so I just want to show you, we went to Lake Tahoe again a couple weeks ago, and with my partner, it's never a dull day, boring day. So I'll just kind of show you a quick little video of what we experienced a couple weeks ago in Lake Tahoe.
Psychics and fairies are real.
Well, thankfully we're here because that shark had diarrhea, so we got shot out. So we're here. We're alive. That base kind of is. I mean, I used AI to do that. I've been like playing around with AI, especially with my ads, and like having really fun stitching, creating AI videos and stitching them together, and going in Final Cut and like creating like these little things. So you'll see a lot more of that coming from me, because I'm like, ooh, I can really put my imagination out there. And I also did one for LOL for show last night too. So I've created some really things I can't show. Funny. Iggy and I have been going back and forth. I've been sending Iggy crazy stuff. I'm like, tell me what do you want me to do with this picture, and I'll do it. So I have a lot of things I'm going to try to use this for, especially for like music videos. If you guys haven't seen my music, go on my music channel, Scott Cruz, and the crazy music video. Maybe I'll close out with that, but I don't know. I've done it so many times. But I did it all myself without AI. And so even with my music now, when I'm doing new music, I have to like put on there, not AI, I didn't use AI. It's my writing, it's my voice, it's my program, all that stuff, which I think people could tell the difference between AI music and not. Some are pretty convincing, but with that kind of blah, mundane sound. But yeah, so I want to create some more stuff. So you'll start seeing some funny things come out of me soon, and especially with my videos. So, and when I have Devin Duro next week, we were talking about AI and like the whole hysteria, fear about it. And I've been saying for a long time, like for those of us who are creative, we're going to use that as AI will be our bitch. And those who are susceptible, have nothing going on, and just easy persuaded by media, news, and politics, and and the liberal Democrat stuff, then yeah, you'll be defeated by AI easily. So get out of your 2 two-party paradigm system bullshit. Start looking at world as an objective way that you're not the only one that exists in life, and your party isn't the only thing that exists in life. There's a diverse aspect of people and experiences. Then you can be more in tune to how to be a contribution to that in the right way, and then you can use AI to be helpful in that quest and journey. But if you want to stay in that two-party system, AI will swallow you whole. I'm not kidding. So, but I love seeing a lot of people can tell. And AI's gotten really good at some video stuff. People can still tell it's AI. So I think a lot of people we're evolving. We're all consciously evolving and growing and expanding. And so we can see through it now. And even though, like I said on LOL, even though machinery is evolving, so is human consciousness. But where are you in that evolution? Are you still stuck down here? Oh my God, the AI is going to be smarter than me. Oh boy, you might have kind of evolved a little bit more, right? Or are you up here where you're evolving too? You're like, oh, my intuition's building, my psychic ability's growing. I'm in tune. I'm following my passion. I'm following my heart. Nothing's controlling me. I'm objective and unaffected, right? Find out where you sit in that evolutional, threshold here. And get yourself tapping in. If you're not, tap in. Find ways that you can do what AI cannot do, which is predict and be intuitive and empathetic, right? And even though it could fake it, it still is not being empathetic, right? And people are craving more human interaction these days too. So they need a hug, they need a touch. They need to feel the human emotion and connection. So AI is going to bring more of that out. It's not going to destroy music. It's going to help music actually, because people are going to crave the human soul more, and they're going to be more clear about that they're deprived of it, and they're going to be more clear about when they feel it or not. It's going to help. So guys, get out of this fear mongering. We're going to talk more about that with Devin and do tag team readings next week. So tune in next week. And if you missed last week's episode of LOL, I see a lot of you guys will tune into me, but don't tune into LOL. So if there's a reason for that, let me know. I'm curious to know why maybe you guys are not interested in LOL, or if there's other reasons why, let me know. Because many guys will tune into me, but not into LOL. I'm drawing my own conclusions on things, but or if you guys are maybe not aware about it, but we do talk about good topics there as well. So tune in if you missed it last night too. But if not, you can also book a session with me, scottcruzbm.com. One-on-one sessions available. I do, of course, my sessions are more in depth. We get into depth about, your past, present, future, all that good stuff, your connections, your relationships, your patterns. I don't just simplify and say, you have a bad picker, 50 minutes, you have a bad picker, and, just you do this. Doesn't happen. And you can see I don't even do that for one question. So, no, we go into depth. And if you're open and want that information, especially in my mediumship sessions, connecting with those who've crossed over, if you want to do one of those sessions too, and get that clarity and understanding of those who've crossed over and passed on. And because I always say my goal is to ignite that connection, and also when you ignite it, you leave with it too. Always, whatever it is. So if you reject it, it's going to come back at some point for y'all at some point. But so yes, I think that's a wonderful thing. So yes, scottcruzpm.com. I'll roll the little advert toward the end there. And I don't really have a song to close out with, which I won't, because I'm just going to go eat my tart. So I'll close up the commercial. I'll see you all next week with Devin Dewar. Again, scottcruzpm.com. Here's a commercial. You guys are wonderful. I love each and every one of you guys. You're all amazing. You're all the gods and goddesses of your own myth. What do you want to create? Much love. Good night, guys.
Scott Cruz is popularly known for his life-changing one-on-one readings to also guide in your soul ascension journey. With life readings, get insight into your relationships, career, health, trauma healings, past life regressions, and more. Want to connect with a loved one who's transitioned? Scott's mediumship session can be the gateway to you and your loved ones in spirit, bridging the gap between the physical and the spiritual realm. If you want to enhance your own psychic ability, Scott's Intuition Builder session can help expand your psychic and mediumship abilities. So sign on to scottcruzpm.com to book your own personal session today.